Amitabha Buddha greetings to all the people. Sir, people woke up this morning. The first idea is, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Sir, I will recite a few verses to connect with the masses before we go to study. Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. I ask Amitabha Buddha to send me to the West. Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. Sir, it is received today, is to continue. Learn the stages of the teachings of the ancestors about the Pure Land method, encouraging practitioners to meditate on the Buddha. Dear people, you will be quoted today. Sleepwalking of Master Ham SN, of Master Shen Sun. There's only one short part of it today, but the camp will share with you. Master Ham SN teaches. Buddha said, spiritual practice out of samsara means many disciplines. Only the practice of reciting the Buddha's wish for pure birth. It is the most straight. In the Bible says, if you want to purify the Buddha, you have to purify your mind. Today, we practice meditation, should take mental purification as the root. It's a phase. The Master's advice to teach us. In fact, this saying is so familiar to him. Familiar. Just like a few days ago, I shared it with you. You say the real spiritual practice, it's a lot of practice. The Buddha taught 84,000 true Dharma practices and say it's boundless. It depends on the nature of beings. It depends on the disease of the living. I like Kamanu Ni because of sentient beings. Give medicine to that person. But that, as the Bible says, in this French era, the method the simplest means. It's the easiest to practice that close AI can do. Any character can do it. Any career can be done. Then only maintaining the Buddha's name is a method. Is a means. The skill here is that it's special. It's special somewhere. From all walks of life. Smart or stupid. Ugly or beautiful. Any class of society can do that. So, this is called a particularly bizarre method. Special enemy wins strangers where? It is possible to practice in this life. Where can it be achieved? Title completely, absolutely in the lead. German salvation from Amitabha. Because you said the method, come out of life and death. There's a lot of stuff, but so that AI can also cultivate. Anyone can live this life, back to the world, sorry. Out of samsara there is nothing but Dharma. Only the Buddha's recitation of pure birth is the most straightforward. Listen carefully. Only the practice of reciting the Buddha's wish for pure birth. You speak the words are seamless. There are many people who say that the Buddha's thoughts. What does it mean to pray for purity? Your words. They're teachings we read when we hear them. We have to hear the whole thing, every word of your teaching. It has deep meaning in it. Let's say this master accidentally says something. Buddhist prayer for pure birth. Old Master Li Bingham. What does Master Tinthong's teacher say? He really recited the Buddha. What is he really? He is old. It's really honest about birth and death. Honestly for the sake of reciting the Buddha. You say it's all in the place of prayer. Master Kwong, what do you say? Sincerely remember the Buddha. Honesty is a heart that is honest. It is urgent to pray earnestly. Praying with this mind is true. Don't lie. To recite the Buddha because of birth and death. So, here we see clearly. 13 ancestors to the 13th ancestor that is Master Kwong. In the modern French era, Master Kwong really said that. One might call it the pure restoration. The spread of his teachings is pure land. It's simply by letters. But the influence of the Indian master, our ancestors are very big. From China to Vietnam, to all the worlds. But the water. 2. But in absolute terms, there's no AI that doesn't know Master Kwong to spread his teachings. Influenced by letters only. Your virtue is great. Because through these stages we see clearly that universities to study with you. It's been almost 20 episodes today. 10 or 20 episodes that you can clearly see a higher level rise. And what kind of teacher? They also praise the pure method. Especially this practice of maintaining the Buddha's name. No way, I can't do it. Anyone can do it too. And the second great master of the Pure Land. We are said to be the reincarnation of Amitabha Buddha. He also said, in this French era, let's use the medium. That memorializes the Buddha. It's very difficult. That method is only for those with high muscle strength. Muscle gain high. High weight is called. Only the top can do it. Remember, with ordinary people like us, if you use the Buddha statue, it will take a long time to be sick and unwittingly demonic. There is only walking. The title of a deed or Buddha, truly one heart, one mind. If you recite this Buddha sign, the successful achievement, it's not inferior. The contemplation of the Buddha's memorial. For the purpose of contemplating the Buddha, the goal of reciting the Buddha's invocation, the Buddha is also because of the past. The goal is also to the ecstatic Western world. But the recitation of the Buddha is not. It's got obstacles, and AI can also cultivate. It should be said that the Buddha's prayer to be lost. Happiness is the greatest enemy. What's the best thing here? AI can also practice, AI can also practice. And AI can also succeed. So, we have to remember that one thing, that we recite the Buddha. Because we recite the Buddha's request for ecstasy. That belief is so important. That belief is so important. We have to believe. Believe in the teachings of the Buddha. We believe in inheritance. The teaching of the great Master Calendar. You are the ones who have practiced and witnessed. You will never deceive us. In the Bible, in the history books, and in this modern age, the simplest, the closest are the clips, the videos, the images of the material of the dead. Our eyes see our ears clearly, and we are still suffering. It's called unsteady trust shake-up. Our faith is that we ourselves don't know how to choose. I don't know how to choose to study. This place is very important. Here you say that. In the sutra it says to purify the Buddha, to purify my mind. Today, we practice meditation. Should take the purification of the mind as the root. What is purity of mind for a Buddhist practitioner? How to purify the mind for a Buddhist practitioner? Have their own modern self? What is the modern purifying mind of the uncle? It's a clear sound, it's a pillar in one place. Steady in one place, it doesn't move. It doesn't rot. What's the sound? The wonderful sound of this Buddha title. For this life, for this officer, when you encounter something you don't know, it depends on the karma. Each person's karma. But we go back to our minds. Every time I see something, the Lord asks, do you remember the Buddha? No more, no more. I want to go to the West no more. For those people, it's mind. It's pure. What's that sound like? Sound Buddha title. For the giants that for this and that officer, and those who find themselves no longer remembering no longer hear the sound of reciting I don't Buddha want to pray, then we're wrong. We're wrong. We are wrong to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, this place is very important. Self is purifying the mind. For the pure, sound is pure sound is. Quiet where the sound, what sound? What is the name Buddha? Is the magic of sound. You just keep thinking and listening. Really listen. True remembrance. Build your own place for clear transparency. Touch the edge. Take that. Clear your mind. Explain what it is. Sound Buddha sign rather than solve. AI causes difficult obstacles or touches. What police officer? Rebuild. Turn the mind around. The Buddha is very fast. Why can we rebuild that? People, because they are familiar. Get used to it. Because of the belief in this Buddha title, the power is new, sir. They say that in the Bible it is clear. Who can recite this Buddha title? To hear this Buddha title it is not. Is to build this one day, one meal a lifetime. It's been countless lives. It's been too long. In the sutras they can hear and remember. The enemy wins even more and prays for life than this person is not simple. It means the grace, the opportunity, their chance is ripe. As if it is already ripe, only the preparation is receiving. What is that newspaper to the ecstatic Western world? So, this opportunity, we can't lose you. It's a ripe opportunity. In our lives, this human body is hard to get that we already have. Buddhism is hard to find, it's hard to believe. We have enough of it. This is our chance, this is our chance. Let us build for ourselves. This life is over. We can't be sure. We still have human bodies. The West's ecstasy in the world. It's easier than going back, folks. We just choose our duty. It's my responsibility. Then earnestly recite the Buddha. To pray for life. The ecstasy of the West that we rely on. Into the next. German salvation from the Maitreya. People see our children doing a lot of things. Sinful crimes, but always behind my back. The mind turns its head. Have a mind to modify. I want to go to the West. Buddha will never leave us. It's as true as our instincts, with our ability to do so. Keeping the 5 precepts is extremely difficult. To return to the human body, extremely difficult because of that. Why do you say the pure method? The practice of reciting Buddha's request for the best enemy. Because in this life, it can help us get out. In the 6 ways of rebirth and death. But in many lives, we haven't been able to do this in many lives. Where is it from? The will of Germany from Amitabha. From the German temperance compassion from Sub-Amitabha. So by listening to these stages, we are very lucky and happy. Very lucky. I am so glad we found this method. I hope people don't miss the opportunities. Don't miss the opportunities. It's called, as the sutra says, 100,000 lives. Hard to find. Our practice as great speakers. Our recitation of the Buddha today. It's because we're dealing with birth and death in the future. It's not a trivial thing. It's not a simple thing we do. Where is Chifo coffee? It's not a blasphemy of time. You have to use all your heart to put it into practice. To put into practice. We've done too much school. We've been in class for too many years. Now we are testing. This mortal contest where we used to go alone. We used to go through it alone or alone. Pass alone. So, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. There's someone standing behind me right now. Support me, help me. Give yourself a chance to pass the exam easily. That's who. That's Amitabha Buddha. That's the aspiration of Amitabha Buddha. In this life, we think that if we don't pass the exam, I don't know when there is a chance to. Out of this sea of life and death, I want to go back, as I said before, to purify the Buddha, to purify my mind. Today, we practice meditation. Have to take the purity of mind as the root. Like the great speakers, this Buddha sign sound is very, very important. Just meet every officer, meet every difficulty. Ask in your mind if you remember the Buddha. Do you still hear the sound of the Buddha's name in your mind? Do you want to go to the West? What other sounds of the words of encouragement? The reminders. My warning words. I have to practice speaking to my mind. Angry people, sad people, that's wrong. I'm a crazy person. That's my wake-up sound. Pure mind is sound. To make my mind softly pure again. Then stop reciting the Buddha. Everything is a cause and effect. It is not helpful to blame angry people. I suffer even more. So our reciters remember the Buddha. Touch the scene, ask. Remember the Buddha no longer wanted to go to the West? How many times do we keep asking questions over and over again? It's natural that it comes to us. What difficulties and obstacles, oh? Where is the Buddha? Oh, just remember, I'm tired. Just recite the Buddha Cho. Gradually and naturally open to the masses the great waves, slowly in front of my eyes. This and that sometimes I see it. I used to tell myself I was upset, and now I see. Let's recite the Buddha Cho. What is wrong with your grandmother? Suddenly something happened to me. Just accept it. Just recite the Buddha. Because we know that the job. When we die in death, there is nothing there more important than the mind. The Buddha's prayer for ecstasy. If we don't build this life, we put those things in our hearts. Leave the thing. It doesn't solve the problem in your heart. It's also a hindrance to ourselves. He said, have to practice. It means standing still in one place. What is career? We simply take the Buddha's karma. To enter into the Buddha's karma. Let another career arise. When sad and angry, when angry, worry. When the affliction stops reciting the Buddha, recite the Buddha. Can you remember the Buddha? Just tell him what it's for. Clean the career. Let's take the Buddha's karma as the root. Is the root. Let's see whether we are enchanted in the scenery or not. Every time we get upset, that we lose. We dropped the Buddha sign and said it was wrong. What career are we doing? The karma of greed is the karma of hell-hungry animals. You are in the mind. You must be Amitabha Buddha. You are in the mind. You have to send me back to ecstasy. We take that as our route. Folks, it's not that simple. You've heard it for a few months. You're used to it when you hit the wall. Don't tell me it's hard to make 1 by 0, as it was at the beginning. Several years. What did you do in the first few years? But get used to it, Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha let it go. This doesn't have to be dry. This is karma. Modern people say that every time they suddenly encounter, when I die, remembering these things doesn't help me. When I was dying, I remembered a new Buddha. We keep thinking that we're going to die. At the time of death, we will not be born. We are afraid and we will recite the Buddha again. When you meet the Central Coast, you remind yourself, motivate yourself like that. Difficult to Amitabha Buddha has not Amitabha Buddha yet. Are upset and upset. Do you want to go back to the hip ecstasy? People, this is a practice. People remember this is practice. It's a reality, not a mere word. Those who practice, great ones to share with you, and more people are seeing it. As the Master's accidental, the ninth Master of the Sacred Heart, you say, to measure. Let's see if we can get someone can measure it for me, and no one knows why. See what I take lightly in this post, and I put a heavy emphasis on reciting the Buddha's blessing. We know, whether we succeed or not. Say, get it? I now find it peaceful in my life because of adversity. There is no AI, but come to me, I know. It doesn't help me, and everything that really comes to it, it doesn't have anything other than that I created it. Everything has cause and effect. I made it new to me, but there's nothing called suddenly. And now if we take the grade, search to the end. Or think to the end. Think one more prison, one more anger, one more time is to create the karma of the 6 ways of rebirth and death. Stop touching the scenery to meet those things. A chance to recite the Buddha, a chance to go to the West, a chance to remember Buddha. To recite the Buddha once more is encouraged to remind, to wake up. Gradually get used to it, and this is what it's called, you guys. It's not a long way off. What is Korea? Everything that comes to you, remember the Buddha. No memory of the West does not remember. The West does not remember the Buddha. No, it's not wrong. Is it right to practice for a long time? If you're used to touching anything, you want to remember the Buddha and recite the Buddha. This place is very, very special. I wish the public could hear these stories. Try hard to remember what purity is. Take the sound of reciting Buddha as your root. Who's listening to what sound? That Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha. Let me know what the West is. Everything for me. Take the Amitabha Buddha. Let me go to the West as a root. Let the mind take it. Take the Amitabha Buddha as my karma. What career is it? Karma reciting Buddha's request for ecstasy. Let the other karma dominate. It saved me. The great student reads this to end the sharing. Master Ham SN teaches. Buddha said that the practice of out of samsara and death, there's a lot of stuff, but only the practice of reciting the Buddha's invocation, Pure Land, is the best enemy. In the Bible says, if you want to purify the Buddha, you have to purify your mind. Today, we practice meditation, should take the purification of the mind as the root. That's the Master's stage. Paint teaches us. I hope people give lectures. These sharing sessions can be heard over and over again, that we can build our faith and practice in everyday life for the good, so that at the end of our life we are born. Go away by yourself. I wish you the best of luck. This life soon returned to the Western world. Adido Buddha, the Buddha.